All right, Sheena. So thanks for joining me on this little interview system that we're gonna set up. I appreciate your time and the chance to get to know you a little better, and have our members get to know you a little bit better. So I think a lot of us know at this point that you are the controller for Westland Construction. But how did you end up being the controller for Westland Construction? Can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had obtained a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Manitoba, with the intent of moving into an educational field. So I was 10 years older than most of the students at the time, and so I decided that summer that I had already had a degree in accounting, so I thought I would get a job in the summer, up my GPA a little bit further, in order to progress into that field, but at the same time, get some income so that I could pay off my student loans.
Okay.
So I had applied at Westland, and I met, my original application was for an accounting manager, with my accounting background, and also I had worked at Bird Construction for 6 years, and FW Sawatsky at the time, but FWS Construction for 4 years. So I had quite a bit of extensive background in the accounting area. Applied at Westland, met with Peter Gross, and got hired on. And from there, it was a smaller construction company compared to the other two that I'd previously worked for. And I found the dynamic of a smaller business very personal and very just more family orientated. And Bird and FWS were amazingly great companies, but the difference was just such a difference from the staff size. So it enabled me to really dive into the field that I was into, and with Peter as a boss and a mentor, I was able to work my way to where I am now, with a lot of work, but with his mentorship, it was a lot of help, and got me to where I am now.
Okay. So what do you like about the construction field?
I love the fact that it is consistent. It's one of those fields that in a pandemic, things still have to go on. You still will always need construction, and you will always need that. When I was younger, I would have never walked into a building and looked around and went, oh, look at how that was built, and oh, look at the architecture there. Whereas now, I look in and I'm looking at the things that were built and how they were built. It's very, over the years, and how things have progressed even from the 80s to now, and how things are built. There's lots of consistencies, but there's just so many improvements, and I love that. It's ever changing.
Cool. So what do you think women bring to construction that would be maybe a little bit more unique to females? What do you think they could bring to construction?
Women in construction, in my opinion, and specifically in the field, I think that they would take a lot of more thought into building something. So men are, and there's not really I don't want to distinguish such a difference, but at the same time, when a woman is doing something, we will take a lot more thought into the process of how it is being done, as opposed to men maybe will just jump right in there and do it. It may be dependent on the personality of the individual, but at the same time, I really think that even for myself, when I'm going into a management meeting, I feel that what I bring to the table as a female is that I allow people to take that step back and think about it a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, I think it probably would be dependent a lot on personality too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But especially in construction, we do see a lot of guys that tend to just dive in, let's get it done and move on. And you need that in construction, especially, right? You can't take the time to overthink things. So yeah.
And I find like we're patient. We're a little bit more patient. You know, maybe it's the motherly instinct in us, but we're a little bit more patient when people are flying off the handle. I feel like we can take a step back and okay, you know, it allows us to be a little bit more accepting of individuals and their demeanor.
Okay, cool. So what do you think Manitoba Women in Construction brings to the industry?
I think that Manitoba Women in Construction is an amazing outlet for all females in the industry and outside of the industry. It gives us an opportunity to, number one, network, find other women with the same types of knowledge in the industry, bounce ideas off of each other, find mentorship, find that friendships even. When I first started out, I mean, it was 1991, and there wasn't a lot of women. There was no women in the field, and in a managerial position, that wasn't the case. I knew one woman at Bird Construction when I started, that she was in a project management position, and I just looked at her. I just thought, wow, you have really probably struggled and worked your butt off to get to where you are, because it wasn't common for women to be in that position. And Manitoba Women in Construction allows women to be empowered, to know that you can get there. You can get there if you work. And even in the field, I don't want to use Carla Larrabee as an example, but I'm gonna. When her and I went to high school together. She was Carla Tavares at the time, but she was the only female in the carpentry program at Tech Balk High School. And she was, people would see her and she would be walking down the hall and be like, oh, that girl, she's in the guys' trades. That's how it was looked at back then. But now, look at her now, right? And that is an example of how she in the Manitoba Women in Construction can benefit or empower others, especially with the Unlocking the Toolkit, with the young children coming up, knowing that they can go into this industry and succeed.
Yeah. So what would you tell your 17-year-old self today that would inspire your 17-year-old self?
I would say that it's okay to be your own person. If you want to be a mechanic, if you want to be a carpenter, if you want to be a mason, do it. There is no boundaries anymore. You don't, there was no boundaries in the first place, but now it's easier to see that end goal, as opposed to 20 years ago when it looked like there was walls. Now those walls are breaking down.
Yeah, not completely gone, but,
no,
definitely breaking down.
And there's reinforcements. There's women that'll help push you over that wall.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to ask you a few questions that will give us a little bit of insight as to who you are actually deep down. So it's kind of going to be sort of like lightning round type questions. So use the first thing that comes to your head in some of these things. So you are a mother of 2 teenagers,
yes.
Working full time. I know you're also very active with sports and stuff before this whole COVID thing.
Yes.
So when you do have some free time, if you have free time, what do you do with your free time?
I love to read. Reading is my escape.
So what was the last book that you read?
Oh, I'm just looking at it. I'm currently on a 4-book trilogy or 4-book series by Nora Roberts, which is just a story of a hotel being built by these 4 brothers that their father had passed away, and they're currently building this hotel. So I can't think of the name of it. I'm looking at it, I'm just like, I can't see from here. It's right there.
Awesome. Okay. So cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Okay. Oh, that was very emphatic.
She's laying on the bed here. I could never say that in front of her.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Best vacation ever?
Disney. I took my kids to Disney in 2009.
Okay. If it's a hot day, like some of them we've just recently had, 30 plus degrees, you're sitting beside a pool, the drink that would be in your hand?
Iced coffee.
Oh, all right. So that answers the coffee tea question.
Love iced coffee.
A true construction woman at heart, then, obviously. Okay, and let's see, what else? Hockey or football?
Hockey.
Okay. And you also play hockey, right?
I played both, yeah. Hockey. I currently play ringette, but I did play hockey, yes.
Okay, and so what position did you play?
Defense.
Okay. Best memory from your high school years?
Best memory from my high school years. Yikes.
Yeah, no, that was a little while ago for us, eh?
Geez, I'm not too sure. I mean, I loved high school. I really enjoyed high school. So, oh, okay, I'll have one. We had a students versus teachers hockey game.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and there was 3 of us girls that were on the boys hockey team that we played against the teachers. And Mr. Keating, grade 11 math teacher, he body checked me against the boards and then carried me into the penalty box with his shoulder. So best time, so fun. It was one of the funnest things we had ever done because pretty much all the teachers ganged up on the girls because we were out there. But then we ended up playing it was so fun. But yes, Mr. Keating, if I see him today, I owe him.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, and one last question then. What has this whole COVID thing taught you about yourself?
I really took for granted my home life when I've been very amazingly fortunate to be able to work from home throughout this entire experience. And there's a lot of people that maybe don't have that comfort of being okay to stay home. And I have really enjoyed my time at home. Both of my kids have been home the entire time, and they're old enough to self-sustain, but at the same time, it's been a really welcome experience to be able to work from home.
Awesome. All right, Sheena, well, thank you so much for your time today. And I hope it gives our members a little bit of insight into you and your background and what possibilities there are for other women in construction. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.